Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, your home for the hottest Liverpool news and transfer drama. Today, we dive into the fallout of Marc Guehi's collapsed move, his fiery three-word response, Frimpong's surprising message to Alexander Isak, and the latest twist in Liverpool's Mohamed Salah succession plan. Stick around, Reds. This one's packed with drama, reactions, and big implications for our future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with every twist and turn in the transfer window. Liverpool transfer decision clear as impact of Marc Guehi. Move collapse felt Federico Chiesa is wanted by Besiktas, but Liverpool are not looking to lose their Italy forward. Behind the screeching headlines of Federico Chiesa's omission from Liverpool's Champions League squad was a much more simple explanation. The decision to leave the Italian out of the 23-man squad for the European campaign was met with the raising of eyebrows from some supporters who feel the frontman could have been a useful option for the campaign ahead, having reshaped the forward line this summer following the decisions to allow both Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez to depart. It had been assumed that Chiesa was set to step up in seniority and responsibility at Anfield, having barely featured in his maiden campaign. And with the wind from one of the catchiest Terrace's anthems in recent years in his sails, the 27-year-old has looked sharp in his cameos so far, particularly against Bournemouth, when he expertly volleyed in a late goal in the 4-2 win. However, the decision to leave him out of the squad for the European campaign, on the face of it, looks like a head coach who is still far from convinced by the former Juventus man in Arne Slot. That perhaps is why Turkish Super League side Besiktas have been linked with a move before their own transfer window shuts on September 12th. The Istanbul club have reportedly reached out to Liverpool in exploratory talks about a deal before their period for player trading ends. But Chiesa has simply been a victim of circumstances. Had Marc Guehi been signed on transfer deadline day, as the Reds tried to do, then the Euro 2020 winner would have been free to play a part in the Champions League group stage. The 11th hour breakdown of Guehi's move meant Rio Ngumoha had to take the final homegrown spot in the 23-man group instead. UEFA's registration rules allow each team a maximum of 25 in their main List A squad. That includes a minimum of 8 places reserved exclusively for what the governing body deems as locally trained or homegrown players, those trained by their club or another in the same national association for at least 3 years between the ages of 15 and 21. That leaves 17 places to non-homegrown players. And with Liverpool having 18 such members of their squad, it was impossible to include everyone, meaning Chiesa was the player who was deemed as the most dispensable once. England defender Guehi stayed at Crystal Palace. Marc Guehi fires three-word message after failed Liverpool transfer. Latest Liverpool transfer news as defender, Marc Guehi is interviewed after his goal-scoring performance for England against Serbia after a failed move to the Reds on deadline day. Liverpool summer transfer target Marc Guehi has delivered a three-word response to what has been a busy few days for the defender. Guehi saw a deadline day deal to Liverpool fall through at the last minute at the start of the month. He didn't have time to dwell on the situation, having quickly joined the England squad for the World Cup qualifiers against Andorra and Serbia. Guehi started both games as the Three Lions continued their 100% record in qualification for next summer's tournament in North America under Thomas Tuchel. The 5-0 win over Serbia in Belgrade also saw Guehi reach a milestone with him turning. In Declan Rice's free kick to make score England's 4th goal, it was the defender's first international strike. Following the full-time whistle, the player was interviewed by ITV Sport. When asked by the interviewer how the last 8 days have been, a big smile came onto his face, and he responded with, "It's been great." He was then asked about coming into the England camp following the failed move, to which he said, "It's always easy coming here. We've got such a good group of players, good group of staff. We're working towards one goal, so it's really enjoyable and always good to be here." Following the game, Tuchel was also full of praise for Guehi. "It's the example. It's the example of how the boys were in the camp exactly like this. They put their personal interests aside and he was the best teammate possible, he said. A fantastic performance. He was very strong for Crystal Palace, and he showed it today on the pitch. Following his international duties, Guehi will now return to Palace. He is expected to start for the club when they take on Sunderland at Selhurst Park on Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. kickoff. Jeremie Frimpong's message to Alexander Isak after meeting Liverpool's new star. Alexander Isak's Liverpool transfer saga ended on deadline day as the Sweden international joined the Reds for a British record fee amid uncertainty surrounding the striker's future. At Newcastle, Liverpool defender Jeremie Frimpong offered the ideal greeting to record signing Alexander Isak following the Sweden international's transfer. The Reds forked out to secure the 25-year-old from Newcastle in a British record deal after a protracted summer pursuit. Isak finalized his switch to Anfield on deadline day, putting pen to paper on a lengthy contract before linking up with John Dahl Tomasson's Sweden squad for the international break. Despite being excluded from first-team training and sitting out the start of the Premier League campaign for the Magpies, the Sweden boss chose to include the nation's number 9, granting him a brief appearance during Monday's 2-0 loss in Kosovo. The striker is expected to meet his new colleagues this week ahead of Premier League action resuming when the Reds visit newly promoted Burnley. The official Liverpool YouTube channel chose to publish its exclusive behind-the-scenes material of the record arrival during the international break pause, providing a glimpse into how Isak's signing day unfolded. Alongside medical examinations, fitness assessments, and journeys to and from the AXA training center, the footage captured a moment of Frimpong and Isak reuniting with the Dutchman declaring, "You're finally here," before sharing laughter and a warm hug. Liverpool was forced to wait until the transfer window's closing day to capture the striker after seeing an earlier offer turned down during the summer. Isak's discontent soon surfaced, sparking doubts about his future before he dropped a shocking statement on social media. "I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken," he penned. That silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. The reality is that promises were made, and the club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if these issues are only emerging is misleading. Liverpool's Mohamed Salah succession plan suffers blow as club takes action. Liverpool has been heavily linked with a move for Bayern Munich and France forward Michael Olise, who is said to be a long-term successor to Mohamed Salah on Merseyside. Liverpool has been identified as a potential contender for the signature of Bayern Munich's forward, Michael Olise, but it's suggested that the Bundesliga team will take action by attempting to ward off any interested parties. The Reds had reportedly earmarked the 23-year-old as a long-term replacement for Mohamed Salah. During the final stages of the summer transfer window, Liverpool appeared to be among the clubs showing interest in the French international. However, no deal materialized in the closing days, with the Reds securing Alexander Isak before missing out on Crystal Palace captain Marc Guehi. Salah signed a 2-year extension, putting an end to ongoing speculation about his future at Liverpool and securing his immediate tenure. According to a report from TBR Football, Bayern is now planning discussions with Olise to extend his contract before the season ends, as the Bavarians aim to retain their Bundesliga title. It's reported that the club is ready to offer the former Crystal Palace winger a salary increase to deter English suitors. The claim further suggests that Liverpool has long admired the 23-year-old, but faces competition from Premier League rival Chelsea, Paris Saint-Germain, and Barcelona. Olise was born in London and played for the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, and Manchester City during his youth career. He graduated from Reading's Academy and quickly became a star, winning the Championship's Young Player of the Season in 2021 to earn a transfer to Crystal Palace. After 3 successful seasons with Palace, he moved on to Munich. He is the reigning Bundesliga Rookie of the Season. Premier League winner Liverpool had a bustling summer in the transfer window, twice shattering its record with the high-profile signings of Florian Wirtz and Isak. Claims that Olise had an active buyout clause in his current contract, which would come into effect from next summer, were later dismissed following suggestions that Liverpool saw him as Salah's successor. After signing a new contract with Liverpool earlier this year, Salah said, "Of course, I'm very excited. We have a great team now. Before, we also had a great team, but I signed because I think we have a chance to win other trophies and enjoy my football. I have played 8 years here. Hopefully it's going to be 10. I'm enjoying my life here, enjoying my football. I have had the best years of my career here." Liverpool now, in no doubt after Marc Guehi's response to deadline day transfer collapse, Crystal Palace captain Marc Guehi saw a deadline-beating move to Liverpool collapse last week and will now become a free agent at the end of the current season. Liverpool are so confident Marc Guehi wants to be a Liverpool player, they don't intend to bid for him in January. The Premier League champions were linked with the Crystal Palace skipper for much of the summer window, and a deal to sign him looked inevitable. Talks ramped up in the hours leading up to the deadline, with Guehi agreeing personal terms and completing a medical. However, despite Palace initially green-lighting his $35 million exit, the plug was pulled at the 11th hour, leaving the player and Liverpool frustrated. It is understood that influential Palace boss Oliver Glasner threatened to quit if the exit was finalized, leaving owner Steve Parish no choice but to block the deal. Guehi is said to be incredibly disappointed that a move didn't transpire, having remained committed to the club throughout the saga. He also has no intention of extending his contract, which will see him become a free agent next summer. There is an expectation, then, that Palace will attempt to engineer an exit in January. In order to recoup some funds for their talismanic defender, Liverpool had been expected to return with a new bid at the start of 2026, but it is now suggested they will bide their time. Anfield bosses were adamant they would sign him for 35 mimmers this summer, or on a free in 12 months' time. A clutch of other clubs have also been linked with his signature, including Premier League rivals Manchester City. The Reds believe, though, that interest from rival clubs is being drummed up in an attempt to call Liverpool's bluff and force a January offer. The England defender is also able to talk to overseas clubs from the start of next year about a pre-contract agreement. However, Liverpool believe Guehi is so determined to make the move to Merseyside, he will also be happy to bide his time. Guehi, 25, will be Liverpool's top defensive target next summer, with Ibrahima Konate out of contract and Joe Gomez expected to move on. Gomez also saw a deadline day move to Milan blocked, but is now considered a vital part of Arne Slot's squad battling on multiple fronts. Konate is further ahead in the pecking order, but his future is arguably more uncertain. Like Guehi, he is set to become a free agent next summer, and despite talks of a renewal, no agreement has been reached. Guehi is yet to return to Palace following the deadline day saga, having been a part of England's squad for their latest batch of World Cup qualifiers. He started the win over Andorra at Villa Park, but only after Three Lions boss Thomas Tuchel held talks over his state of mind. Tuchel said, "We had a chat with him. He looks absolutely fine, very impressive on the field. He's the main driver of Palace's success, captain, and the leader. He's continued this in camp. He handles it with respect and grace and a brilliant attitude." Guehi was a doubt for Wednesday night's clash with Serbia in Belgrade, but now looks set to be involved for what is the toughest test before next summer's tournament in the United States.